An explanation of Adam Grant's book, Hidden Potential, The Science of Achieving Greater Things, where we delve into each chapter, each idea, each story, and each parable, with the author's in-depth analysis and comprehensive insight. Cornwood's book introduction. Adam Grant begins the book by deconstructing the widespread notion that success depends on innate talent. He rejects this conventional view, arguing that true talent is not the starting point, but rather the hidden potential within each person. He poses a fundamental question. What makes some people achieve greatness while others remain mediocre? Here he begins his scientific and psychological journey to deconstruct this question, reviewing studies, biographies, and real-life examples. Chapter 1. Why is potential unmeasurable? In this chapter, Grant addresses the misunderstanding of human potential. Many institutions and schools focus on current performance, grades, results, and immediate accomplishments, but neglect the potential that has yet to be unleashed. Examples. The story of a person who wasn't a great student, but in a supportive environment, he became one of the greatest researchers. A comparison of students who were initially labeled weak, but later developed beyond expectations. Lessons. Intelligence isn't fixed. True development requires a flexible environment that doesn't judge people by their past. Chapter 2. The Power of Unfinished Beginnings. Here Grant discusses the hidden value of weak beginnings. Key idea. Those who aren't given every opportunity from the start often develop more internal tools for success than those who start strong. Examples. Athletes and inventors who started out in poverty or hardship. A child who didn't have resources learned hard work and perseverance, and later became a leader. Analysis. Difficulties don't inhibit potential. They sharpen it. Early failure can be a powerful catalyst for building a growth mindset. Chapter 3. Discipline is more important than talent. Grant discusses self-discipline as a more powerful factor than intelligence, luck, or circumstances. Chapter content. Studies on school students. Students who controlled their time and reviewed their lessons regularly were more successful than smarter students. The power of routines and small habits. Key lesson. Success isn't a single leap, but rather an accumulation of small steps that require consistent discipline. Chapter 4. Mentoring, not teaching. Here, Grant distinguishes between those who teach you and those who guide and direct you along the way. Key points. Mentoring makes a huge difference in developing potential. The relationship between teacher and student is not just about information, it's about transferring belief and trust. Examples. Stories of entrepreneurs and scientists who had mentors in their lives who supported their passion. How a simple bit of guidance from someone who believed in you can change the course of your life. Chapter 5. Challenge yourself, not compare. This chapter discusses the importance of comparing yourself only to yourself, not to others. The idea. When we focus on external competition, we get frustrated, but when we compete with our previous version, we progress. Analysis. People who focus on self-improvement feel truly accomplished. Comparing ourselves to others leads to stress and loss of motivation. Chapter 6. How do we create an environment that unleashes potential? Here, Grant shifts to the social and educational dimension. The key elements: respect, freedom, trust, and challenge. Work or school environments that unleash potential focus on providing opportunities for gradual growth. Supporting failure as part of learning. Providing feedback that encourages development. Chapter 7. Accepting mistakes as progress. Grant emphasizes the importance of failure as an essential part of the path to success. Message. You can't grow without making mistakes. Societies that hate failure kill potential. Stories. How great inventors failed in their first experiments. The difference between those who see mistakes as the end and those who see them as new information. Chapter 8. The Power of Inner Encouragement. This chapter discusses the impact of positive words and internal reinforcement. Experiment. Children whose teachers told them, "You have a high capacity for learning," later actually improved their results. The idea. What we hear about ourselves can program our minds. Deep psychological support is more important than empty praise. Chapter 9. Hidden Potential in Every Society. Grant devotes this chapter to discussing marginalized communities and forgotten groups. The message. There is no environment that doesn't contain potential geniuses, but they need to be seen, not judged. How opening doors to everyone creates miracles. Book conclusion. Adam Grant ends his book with a powerful message. Don't judge yourself or others by where they are now, but by where they could be. Potential is not measured by results, but by consistency, intention, and environment. Key ideas from the book as a whole. Camera 1. Intelligence is not enough. 2. Potential can be built. It's not a talent you are born with. 3. Social and community support are essential for individual ascent. 4. Persistence, feedback, in a good environment. True success. 5. Humans have tremendous potential, but they need opportunity and recognition. Let's start by highlighting 3 of the most prominent stories from Adam Grant's book, Hidden Potential. 1. The story of Carla Harris. The loud-sounding child who climbed to the top of Wall Street. Carla Harris was born into a modest background and was a member of a minority ethnic group in the United States. During her school years, she wasn't labeled a genius or a genius, but she possessed something special, an inner voice telling her she could do whatever she wanted, despite everything. When she joined the business world, Wall Street was a challenging environment fraught with racial prejudice and gender discrimination. But she held on to her strong personality and loud voice. She didn't try to fit in, she asserted her own identity. Lesson. Adam Grant cites her to demonstrate that potential isn't measured solely by initial acceptance, but rather by those who dare to be different and persist despite obstacles. Strength isn't about conformity, but rather about uniqueness, confidence, and perseverance. 2. The story of Leonardo Castro. The student no one believed in. Leonardo was a student from an immigrant family in Latin America. He didn't excel on tests and suffered from attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and learning difficulties. All of his teachers considered him weak, and no one expected him to have a great future. But one math teacher believed in him. Instead of judging him, he began challenging him, encouraging him, and pushing him to work hard, showing him that he was able. This confidence was the first seed that changed Leonardo's life. Over time, he began making small but cumulative improvements, and little by little, he became a successful engineer and then the founder of an educational foundation that supports students like him. Lesson. This story highlights what Grant calls the effect of high expectations coupled with support. Potential is planted with the words, "you can," and nurtured with positive follow-through and challenge. 3. The story of Brock Harris, the teacher who was fired because he believed in his students. Brock Harris was a public school teacher for students from poor and marginalized backgrounds. He saw great potential in his students, but the school focused solely on discipline and results, not growth or a supportive environment. Once his students organized a peaceful march in support of social justice, but the school administration deemed it overreach, and Brock was fired. The strange thing? The students he taught, years later, became some of the most successful people in their communities, and they acknowledged that Brock changed their lives because he believed in them when no one else did. The lesson. The story underscores a central theme of the book. When you instill faith in someone, you don't just open a door, you might build a whole future.